Whether we're talking about the Sega Master System, the Sega Genesis, the 32X, or the Sega CD, Sega has never really had the same type of support, either in terms of games or accessories, as their friends over at Nintendo have over the years. That even came forward to their second to last system, the Sega Saturn. Now, in recent years, the Sega Saturn has become a more collectible system, very similar to what the Genesis and the Master System have both enjoyed. But one of the problems with the Saturn has been either getting OEM controllers has been ridiculously expensive, or when you can find them, they're not very good. This is where our friends over at Retrobit come to save the day again, with officially licensed controllers for the Sega Saturn with partnerships from Sega. There are two different variants of this controller. There is the slate gray, as you see here, where it has a somewhat transparent case and colored ABC buttons. There is also the traditional black controller too, with black buttons. One other difference you may notice too, one version is compatible with PC, Mac, and Steam thanks to the included USB port, where the other features Sega's original OEM controller port for the Sega Saturn. Best of all, the USB equipped version is also compatible with Retrobit's own Super Retrocade. Welcome to Rock Solid Productions, where in this video we are going to check out the officially licensed Sega Saturn controllers now available from Retrobit. Hey everyone, Gary here with Rock Solid Productions. If this is your first time to the channel, I want to take a second and thank you for stopping by. I really do appreciate you checking out what we have going on here on the channel. If you like what you see here, we have hundreds of other videos up here on the channel that you can check out. And if you really like what you see, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. That way each and every time we do upload new content, you are kept the most informed and up to date. So we saw several months ago that Retrobit announced a new collaboration with Sega to come out with new controllers, both for the Sega Genesis and the Sega Saturn, and also utilize those same controllers for a USB type connection. Well, they're finally here, we have them in our hands, and we had a chance even to play around with them a little at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo in 2018. If you didn't see our video from PRGE 2018, check it out up there in the annotation. We had a lot of fun talking to Richard from Retrobit. Like I mentioned, they're available for the original Sega Saturn, which is the one I have in my hands here. There's also this version, which comes with a USB attachment at the end instead of your traditional Saturn attachment. And that'll work with Windows PCs, with Macs, and it'll also work with Retrobit's own Super Retrocade, which we have right here too. With both of the controllers up on the bench, one of the things I do want to point out is what controller I have been using. And this is basically what came with my system when I bought it used. I mean, it's one of the old school controllers. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. It didn't feel good to me. So we are going to open up, first of all, we'll slide the USB one back. Before we dive in the box, we are going to take a look real quick at the back. Relive the controller that changed the game and take it to the next level with the officially licensed Sega Saturn original port controller by Retrobit, featuring a 10-foot cable, that's awesome, and compatible with original Saturn consoles. Officially licensed by Sega, original grade quality, compatible with Sega Saturn consoles, and a 10-foot cable, all good stuff right there. I mean, it's just awesome. Looking at it, it looks like the original controller. So I mean, aesthetically, it looks great. I mean, this is something that they just nailed it, at least from a box art design. Let's take a look inside the box, which is the business end of this, and I don't want to rip the box. Very firm, thick cardboard on here. So there you can see the controller itself. It is pretty transparent. Let's bring you in closer so you can see inside the controller. You can kind of see the Retrobit logo. There we go. Right in the center underneath the cord and above the Sega. I like seeing the PCBs and stuff. That's just cool to me. Looks like there's a date code or something right about there. On the back side, again, pretty much just looking at the internals and everything on there. You do have the Retrobit and Sega logos molded into the casing. Now, if you do need to get inside, these are standard Phillips head screws, so they are not game bits, which is good. Checking out the buttons and the layout, the D-pad feels really good. I mean, really, really good. All the face buttons feel good. These feel a little bit shallow, like they don't have a ton of travel, but I'm not sure if that's how the original Saturn controllers were. But overall, I mean, it's pretty comfortable to hold in the hand. Let's check out if there's anything else in the box, which I don't think that there was. Nothing on the black part there. Nothing else in there. I mean, it's a controller that plugs in. It's not wireless, so you don't need a whole lot to check out on that. Now let's check out the USB version. And once again, looking at the back, relive the controller that changed the game and take it to the next level with same copy, except for the fact it's now addressing PC, Mac, and Steam. They don't mention their own Super Retrocade, which is a little surprising. Officially licensed, original grade quality, compatible with PC, Mac, and Steam. And again, that 10-foot length cable. As you can see, it's the same basic plastic that the controller is housed in out of the box. And this one is just your standard black controller. The L and R buttons, or the fast forward and rewind, depending on how you want to call it, they feel exactly the same. D-pad, buttons, I mean, everything feels good. Like I say, I'm just a little surprised that the travel is so short on these, but that could be just how the original was. So we are gonna hook up our Saturn first, and we're gonna test it out on that. Let's get playing. Now, one thing is I do have my Action Replay hooked up, and the system is hooked up using HD Retrovision cables, passed through my OSSC. I am using a 4x line multiplier, but other than that, no filters or anything like that are being applied at this time. The first game we're throwing in, we're checking out Street Fighter Alpha 2. With any fighting game, if there's any poor functionality of a controller, fighting games a lot of times are going to go ahead and kind of let us know before anything else that there's an issue. The controller feels really comfortable in the hand. They did a good job of getting the molding just right. Oh, where's Gabbo Gabbo when I need him to be able to take him down? Yeah, I am digging the way this is working here. Next, we're going to change on over to an action platformer, one of the best ones for any system at any time. If you kept an eye recently, if you're one of our Patreon followers, if you follow me on Instagram, you know just what groovy game we're about to throw in. Earthworm Jim 2. It's a no-brainer. One of my favorite game series of all time, and I finally have it for the Sega Saturn with a great controller to play it with. We're going to start the game, and this is a game that I'm actually really terrible at. I love the original. I've just not spent a whole lot of time playing EWJ2. Come on, how do I get the extra life? So A is shoot, B is jump, and C is whip. I have to say, this game looks gorgeous. And with the pigs, you can't walk with them. You have to jump with them. Got him. Now, this next section here, the grannies, one of the reasons I think I never really played this game a whole lot because I hated this part of the game. Oh, we have extra weapons too, that's right. I always forget that in this game you can switch weapons. Shocking. I mean, the game itself is not easy. So I mean, there is that, but I can't say the controller is causing any issues. It's just a matter of I suck. Just like that. But so far so good. We're gonna switch now over to the Super Retrocade and see how that version works with that system. So here's my Super Retrocade up and running. I can go back and forth. I do have the SD card in. We're gonna go to local storage first. Now, the one thing on this controller, unlike the original Super Retrocade controller, there's no select button. There's no way to change any of the settings. So if you want to go 16:9 or 4:3, you can't do that. You'll have to put the original controller in to change that and then go back to this if you wanted to. So just something to have a heads up on. We're going to local storage. Where is it? Mighty Final Fight is what I'm looking for. Right there. Yeah, it's an NES game, but it's a great NES game. Start button works as expected. I'm going to go with Cody for starters. There's A. There's B. Feels good. L and R triggers don't do anything. None of the other buttons do anything, so it's only A and B, just to be aware of. This is a game that on the Go Retro Portable, also from Retrobit, I just play a ton of it. Now, if you haven't seen my review of that system, I will have that linked up in the upper corner for you to check out. D-pad feels great, and that's one thing I didn't say or talk about a whole lot with the Saturn version is, you know, the buttons, the D-pad, they all felt really, really good. This is one of those games too that, I mean, I did a check yesterday before I filmed this. Just, you know, I never played this game on the NES. I've only ever played either like, you know, this version or when it's been part of some other collection. I've seen the actual cartridge, but I've never, you know, played an actual cartridge. I mean, this is a game that goes for a couple $100. So that's where I look at the Super Retrocade at just the value that it offers. Mighty Final Fight, looking good. Now, one thing, no way to get back to the main menu with this controller, so we're gonna power cycle. We're gonna test and see. Obviously, it works great with this. Let's see how it plays the ROMs that I have loaded on my SD card. For my main menu, I'm gonna switch from local storage to SD card. And I haven't done the updates on here, so like you can see, I don't have the artwork and stuff on here. I'm looking for a good, you know what? Let's try Super Mario World. Now, this is one of those instances where normally for me, I would play with the Super Retrocade stock controller because I can change the aspect ratio with the select button. You don't have that functionality here. Now, I'm curious to see what the button arrangement is going to be like on this as well, because Super NES, you have A, B, X, Y. The L and R triggers would normally be, you know, it would shift the screen left or right. I'm wondering how that's mapped on this. So we'll go into Yoshi's Island number 2. So A, B, and X and Y run. Triggers don't do anything. Let's see, Z. Come where the screen actually moves. So that was Z. And that's C. Okay, good to know. I do kind of wish A and X were reversed as far as their, what they do. The Super Retrocade is just, it's such a great little machine. And especially not like, I didn't mind the stock controller for the Super Retrocade. I will admit that. What I liked about it too is it was very similar to what the Super Retro, actually pretty much the exact same thing that the Super Retro Trio Plus, also from Retrobit, came with. And I thought it was super comfortable. But this does allow you, so there we go. Again, the button layout is not ideal, but that's more to the mapping more than the controller itself. It has nothing to do with the controller. Works, I mean, yeah, this is doing its thing. No. Womp womp. Now, the one thing about this layout that it does let me do is now that I'm down here is I can jump and get off of Yoshi a little bit quicker than normal, but I mean, nothing major. There's the one-up I was looking for. Yeah, I just feel like, and again, this has nothing to do with the controller, just the way the buttons are laid out on here. No, Yoshi, come back, you coward. Oh, well. Yeah, I just kind of wish that button was mapped to A and that button, I mean, yeah, because I'd rather hold down that button to run and then tap that to jump. Huge kudos to the crew over at Retrobit. Yes, they took a little bit to get to market, but man, these things work great. Whether we're talking about the version for the Saturn or the USB version, they're both comfortable in the hands. The buttons feel great. The D-pads are amazing. This is just a really well put together controller, and there is a reason why this not only has the Retrobit logo on it, but it says Sega on the front. These are that good that Sega put their stamp of approval on these controllers. And regardless if you're looking for one for the Saturn or with the USB output, you can get them in either color. We just have one for one for the other, as you see it here. I really dug them. I thought that they were quite good. And the thing is that if you are looking to pick up one of these controllers or both of them for yourself, head on over to CastleManiaGames.com. Ryan has them available. If they're not in stock, you can go ahead and put your name on there and kind of do a pre-order, and when they come in, he'll go ahead and get those out for you. The cool thing with CastleManiaGames.com, not only do they support this channel, but they also support you. First of all All orders $20 and up, you get free standard shipping and handling in the US. And on most items on the website, if you use promo code ROX10, you can save 10% again on most items on the website. If you like what you see here, if you want to see more, like I mentioned early on, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way, each and every time we do come out with new content, you are kept the most up to date. Now, if you do have any comments or questions, as always, feel free to leave them down in the comments section. You can also email me at rocksolidmail@gmail.com. Hit me up on Twitter at RockSolidStudios. We're on Instagram, like I mentioned with the Earthworm Jim purchase recently. We are over there at Instagram.com/RockSolidProductionsGK, and we always have the conversation going over on our Facebook page at Facebook.com/RockSolidProductions. I do have to thank our Patreon supporters as well. You see them on screen right here. Without them, we would not be able to do half of what we do. Thank you all. If you want to join us on over there, it's at patreon.com/rocksolid. And the cool thing about that is you get early access to all of our video content, exclusive content with me behind the scenes, and a whole lot more over on our Patreon page. And if you want to help support the channel too by rocking some Rock Solid Productions merchandise, head on over to our Teespring store on screen right now. Everything that we do go ahead and fundraise goes right back into the channel, so I greatly appreciate it. Again, Retrobit, thank you for sending these in for us to check out and test. I know a lot of people have been eagerly waiting for these to come. And if you are looking for a review on the Genesis controller, the 6-button controller, we have that coming to the channel if it is not up by the time you see that too. I am Gary. This has been Rock Solid Productions with the Sega Saturn officially licensed controllers from Retrobit. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.